Well, first of all, thanks for coming. You came a long way, right? Where do you live?
Well, Reading.
Reading. It's about an hour.
Yeah, like an hour.
Yeah. Dad's nice enough to drive you all the way
He's
out here.
sick too. He has a cold.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good guy then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think the best way to start this is to just ask what your name is.
Well, my name's Mike Sell. My legal name's Mike Sell.
Okay.
But like, ever since I was 22, I noticed being with Kurt Cobain. You know.
And when you say being with, what do you mean?
Like it's like I'm in his shoes.
Okay.
It's like when you have a walk-in and you're walking in their shoes, it's like you are that person, but like you can be like both. Like I can be Mike and he can be Kurt. You know what I mean? Like, cause like definitely I'm Mike Sell, but you know I get to be Kurt sometimes because I'm with him. You know, like.
So talking to me now, you're kind of both. Is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Now, and when you say Kurt Cobain, you're talking about the same Kurt Cobain that everybody knew in Nirvana.
Yeah.
That's the one we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about what it feels like to be able to speak as a guy who was kind of known as like, you know, the voice of a generation, a pretty important guy in rock history.
Well, I don't think of him. I know he was, but like it's just like we're like, you know, like, dude, Mike's even cooler than Kurt. You know what I mean? A little bit cooler than Kurt. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
Mike Sell's like fucking phenomenal, dude.
Yeah.
You know, like if you knew his whole life story, like, dude, he experienced Nirvana when he was 19.
Yeah,
I mean, this kid was like, his singing voice, like when he was 17, 18, and 19, like he was. I never heard anybody sing like that, dude.
So when you say he, and you're talking about Mike's voice, because I read what of your book you sent, and I thought it was really interesting. I was telling Tommy earlier, I thought it was great. So when you say Mike's voice, great, and a great musician, you're speaking as Kurt talking about Mike.
Yeah, I can do that.
Right. So Kurt thinks that Mike was a great great musician as well, right?
Yeah. Well, see, there was the 17, 18, and 19 thing where I just sung in my car, and then there was 20. When I was 20, I was like a total genius because I was like I have bipolar and stuff, so I was a little sick. I was like sick, and I was like smoking pot on Seroquel.
What's Seroquel?
It's like a psych med, and it's like a real bad one. Like holy crap, dude.
Okay.
So anyway, it really messed me up. They didn't know what meds were right for me at the time.
Okay.
So I was like this total genius, right? I was in this other world. This is Mike talking.
Yeah.
Okay, I was in this other world, like, well, same world, but you know, like everything was different.
Right.
Because I was like in this like genius mind.
Right.
And then when I was 21, I was like this like freestyle freak of nature at guitar and lyrics and melodies and timing and coordination, and I was a freak of nature. I mean, people don't know about people like me. That I saw 2 freestyle bands in my life. One was at Warped Tour or something like, or Vans Warped Tour at Tweeter Center, Susquehanna Bank Center. Yeah, Susquehanna Bank Center. And that was a really good freestyle band. And they were main stage. They were sharing the stage with a punk band played after them. But I didn't like the punk band. I liked the freestyle band. And I was at the Brass Lantern one night, and this band was like off the hook freestyle. Like this guy was as good at guitar as I was basically when I was 21, you know. But then I burned out. And then I couldn't play a note for 6 months. I was so drained. Do you know what I mean? I was so drained.
Right.
Like I couldn't play a note for 6 months, dude. Like I'd go dink on acoustic guitar and I'd start crying.
And what was too much for you? You were just burnt out. It was just too much.
I was burned out. I burned out. Like when I burned out, that's like the sickest guitar playing I think there ever was. Like it was so intense. It was like I was in my basement. Most of the time I spent time in my basement, but it was like stages passing by me at like light speed or something.
Right.
Like the basements, like 1,000 basements, like flying past me at like light speed. When I was playing these 2 jams that I did in a row, you know, that when I burned out,
Yeah.
it was off the hook, dude.
Well, then, at what point, I guess, you know what, actually better, tell me how would you describe Mike Sell? You know, if I had to go describe Mike Sell to somebody.
Everybody likes Mike Sell.
Everybody likes Mike Sell.
When I tell people, when I'm trying to tell people that I'm with Kurt,
yeah,
they're like, "You're Mike," or the one guy's always like, "You're Mike, you're Mike, you're Mike Sell."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but it's kind of like there's both, you know." And he doesn't understand that, but you know, people want me to be Mike. You know, they like Mike. You know, people like me better than Kurt. You know what I mean?
And how would you describe Kurt? How would
Kurt's awesome, dude. Kurt's cool as shit. You know, I wouldn't want to go through hell with my illness. You know how I went through hell with my illness?
Yeah.
Well, like, I wouldn't want to go through that with anybody but Kurt Cobain. Not God, not Jesus, not anybody. Kurt Cobain's who I'd want to go through that with.
And is that why is that? Is that because of who he is, or what he's
like?
Yeah,
just
what's
what
so
he's
great
like.
About Kurt Cobain?
To
you, not just to the rest of the world. Everybody knows what a great musician he was, but to you,
we have a special like bond,
right?
Where like we're just like perfect together. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what to say.
How about this? How is Kurt different than Mike? What's different about Kurt than Mike?
Well, I mean, musically, or
what would you say is the most important difference as people, not musically? Just
we've grown together a lot. You know what I mean? We're very similar people. We have like the same like rhythms. You know what I mean? Like we're like a similar person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can't really think of anything off the top of my head that would be different between Mike and Kurt, except that Mike's Mike and Kurt's Kurt. I mean.
In your book, you write about the time. There must have been a moment that you realized that you were that Kurt was here too. You know?
Oh yeah.
What's it? Can you talk about that moment when it became a reality?
I was working at Texas Roadhouse in Wyomissing, and
is that the place that you throw the peanuts on the floor?
That's the peanut bar.
Oh.
But anyway.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. But anyway, I was washing dishes, and I was putting away these dishes, and I looked over in a daze, like, I was like dazed, and this girl was walking towards me that worked there in the kitchen, and she's like, "You're Kurt Cobain." She said that to me. And then I was like, I left that, I had been noticing like a walk-in or something for like a few days before that. And I thought, well, maybe this is the person that I'm noticing, like maybe it's Kurt Cobain that I'm with.
Yeah.
And
you said you've been noticing a walk-in?
Like a walk-in's when two people are living and one person dies and wakes up the next day with the other person.
Okay. And that's what you've been noticing?
Yeah.
Okay. Even though Mike had not died?
No.
Almost noticing
no, Kurt like woke up with me, I think, on April 8th.
When Kurt died? Yeah. And do you remember, as Kurt, like, do you remember
I felt bad and sad about what happened. I was standing outside the old library in Schuylkill Valley High School. It used to be a little library there.
Yeah.
And I felt bad. I was looking in at all the people that were sad and upset, and I felt bad and sad about what happened because I heard on MTV it was a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head.
Yeah.
And later I learned it was a .22 birdshot. It wouldn't have blew my head off. You know what I mean? I must have OD'd or something. I don't know.
So do you think maybe it wasn't self-inflicted? Or
I don't think Kurt would ever kill himself, dude.
Right.
I think we've lived through worse than whatever he went through.
Right. And in fact, you've lived through worse. You wrote in the book that that Mike has suffered more than most people have in their lives. What do you mean by that? What?
Well, when I would get sick, first of all, you're in hell, right? Like, you're in hell on earth. You feel like hell, you think like hell, like you're in hell, okay? So you go to the hospital looking for help. You know what they do to you, dude? They strap you to a bed or lock you in a room, and they leave you there to suffer for hours while you're in this hell. That is the most messed up thing that I think there ever was. Right. And that's screwed up that they do that to people, dude.
Right.
Because I was never a threat to anybody. You know what I mean?
And that's how they, when you were looking for help, that's how they treated you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how long did that go on for?
I was in that hospital for about 8 years. I had 16 or 18 hospitalizations in 8 years.
Wow.
And then I started getting better on my 25th birthday. See, I stopped drinking, I stopped smoking pot, I stopped trying drugs, you know, and I started taking my meds, and they put me on the right meds finally, you know, lithium, and whatever else.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was finally on the right meds, so I started getting better, and I've just been getting better ever since, and it's just the way it is.
Was before Kurt died physically? Were you two together before that?
I don't think, no. I never met Kurt Cobain.
Okay. So, but never even, you never even felt that you were a fan, right? You listened to his music, right?
Well, is there like a connection?
Yeah, like, did you feel a connection before that happened?
Oh, of course. I mean,
right.
I don't know exactly. There's no specific thing that I can say that was a connection, but see, well, I started playing guitar when I was 13, and then I was 13 in 1993, so I know what it was like back then. You know what I mean? So when I wrote songs, I wrote them just like Nirvana songs when I was 13.
Right.
Because that's the only formula that I understand how to write music. It's like we're the same kind of person.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we know how to write music with a Nirvana style formula. What I want to say about that, though, songs are kind of lame to me because I was freestyle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, dude?
So, just songs in general, like the verse, chorus, verse.
Yeah,
structure of a
that
song.
is so boring. You do the same thing over and over again. When I was freestyle, I did something new every time I played. It never wore my soul thin or anything like that.
Yeah.
I was off the hook, potent as hell, off the hook for like every time I played. For, you know, I didn't play a wrong note in the whole 10 months I was a freestyler.
Do you think Kurt is jealous of Mike in that Kurt seemed to be trapped in that kind of songwriting? Like, you know, write songs. You know, do you think he felt trapped by that, or did you feel trapped by?
I felt trapped by. Well, we both felt trapped by songs.
Right.
I mean, because, dude, I don't feel songs really usually. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I can like crank out like In the Pines or something, but I mean, it's like a little fun, but it's not like. See, I don't feel that I can freestyle anymore. I haven't been able to do it. It's kind of a thing that just happens like for a certain amount of time, and then you burn out, and then you can't do it anymore.
So sometimes now, and when I'm reading, sometimes you'll speak as Mike, and sometimes you'll speak as Kurt, and then sometimes even you'll speak as we.
Yeah.
You know, the both of you. Are there certain situations, or is there a reason that one takes precedent over the other, or is there a reason that sometimes you'll speak as Kurt, or sometimes you'll speak as both of you?
Well, when I'm doing an interview about Mike and Kurt,
right,
it's kind of like I'm gonna have to say, see, I just kind of like be Mike when I'm in public and stuff. Well, I be both, but when I'm talking to somebody that I know and they know me as Mike, I try to like break it to them easily about Kurt.
Yeah.
Because people don't they want to know Mike. They know Mike, so they don't. Like, people don't know Kurt, so sometimes people have like a bad attitude about Kurt or something.
Right.
You know, so like they say, oh, this about Kurt or this about Kurt. You know, but he's just like me, you know.
Why did you decide to, I mean, you've been living with this, I mean, Kurt has been part of you for how long? Since for like 8 years?
9 years.
9 years. So why is it now that you've decided that you want to write about it? Or
no, I wrote that book when I was 25.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I wrote that book when I was 25 and 26.
And how old are you now?
31.
Wow. And why did you even decide? Have you sent it to people since then, or?
I sent it to Sub Pop. I sent it to 97.3 because they had like a local hour.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And then I sent it to you guys. I didn't get any response from anybody except you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, we thought it was great. From the instant you sent it to us, we thought it was interesting. So.
And the thing is, see, I did come out of the closet as Kurt Cobain, like in West Reading.
Yeah. There
was a coffee shop called the Hard Bean.
Okay.
And we all used to hang out there, like a million different people. And there's this tattoo shop on 4th Ave. It's Dragonfly, and Dave Dragonfly is like, helped me explain it to people. We talked about this. Basically, when I was 26, I'd walk down the street in West Reading, people would say, Kurt, you know, that kind of thing. So I didn't wait.
You started telling people.
I didn't wait till now. This is just you just got it at this time.
Right. So this is more about us discovering it now, not about you saying it now. You've said it for a while.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, tell me what. Rather, let's jump back. Do you think that that when Kurt died and became a part of you, do you think that's because? Do you think it was? Why do you think that is? Why do you think that happened?
Well, see, I don't really. My memories are a little cloudy of back then.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So.
Well, more why you two were. You know, was it more?
Well, I experienced Nirvana when I was 19, right? Like I thought.
Tell me about that. I read that. Tell me about that. About experiencing Nirvana.
I thought I was Mike for like 8 years. Just Mike, from 14 and a half to 22 and a half.
Yeah.
I didn't think about Kurt much. Maybe a little bit. Like I knew there was like a connection between us.
Right.
See, Kurt used to say my name in songs.
Yeah. You were in what song on Bleach? One of the songs on Bleach.
Oh, I think it was Love Buzz.
Yeah.
He says CL, and then he goes Mike, Cell, and then he goes Dada.
Yeah.
So anyway, plus in the first performance of Smells Like Teen Spirit, I think he says Mikey Cell.
Really? He
puts that into the lyrics. He changes the lyrics because he never could remember his lyrics.
Right.
Kind of like me.
Oh, you have trouble remembering your lyrics too?
Yeah, no, I remember them sometimes. But anyway, so
keep going.
So I was like 19, and I was driving on Route 78 because I was starting to get sick. I was starting to have a manic episode, right?
Right.
So I'm driving on Route 78, and it's like the middle of the day, and there's cars all around, right?
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, I'm going like 5 miles an hour, and there's no cars around. It was like I was in another like realm or something.
Yeah.
Another place, and there was a break in the median, and it was like I was trusting God that if I crossed onto the wrong side of the road, there was no cars coming.
Right.
So I was safe, but I was trusting God that if I crossed on the wrong side of the road, I'd be safe.
Yeah.
For some reason, I was like trusting God for that some reason. And then all of a sudden, instantly, I was going 65 miles an hour, or 55 or whatever, you know, like the speed limit on 78 or whatever. And it was the sunlight's like everywhere, and it's like alive. Like it's like here, light's empty.
Right.
But in heaven, it has substance.
Right.
And it's all healing.
Right.
There's no sickness in heaven. And I was like stoned. I just sat there like with my hand on the wheel and a big Mike Sell smile, in the book it says Kurt Cobain smile.
Yeah.
But it was the Mike Sell smile.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I was Mike in heaven, and then it's like forever in a second, you know? Like there's no time in heaven really.
Right.
And then I came to, I think about 20 minutes down the road. I'm not sure how long I was there. But I came to following a cop around in a circle at a rest stop.
And what did you learn from that? Like what from that experience?
Well, I might have
take from it.
I might have made a connection with Kurt because I went to heaven, or maybe Kurt was with me all along, and he didn't live through yet until I was 22. But he took my place on earth while I was in heaven.
You wrote that you think in Billy Corgan's on the Machina album that he's somehow aware of this.
Well,
talk about that.
It applies to me. The lyrics apply to me. Pull down the heavens to please you, appease you, to hold the flower I can keep.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what happened to me, dude.
Yeah.
I went to heaven, so.
Has there been anything since you've been 22 and Kurt was here? Is there anything negative you feel like that's come of this, or has it only been good for you?
We used to fight a little bit. Like Kurt. I think he felt a little sick. I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he was just like, it was seen as though he was trying to push me out, you know, like take over and push me out. But like, I straightened him out about that, and he's a better person for it. You know what I mean? When
you're talking about Kurt, can he hear you? And when Kurt's talking about Mike,
I can hear Sully.
So you can hear him.
Yeah.
Now, as Kurt, you can hear Mike.
Yeah, I can hear Sully. I call him Sully.
And what has this experience as Kurt? How has this experience been for you? You know, what have you learned from Mike, and what have you learned to teach Mike?
Everything, man. Mike Sell's amazing.
Really,
dude. First, his major achievements in life. Okay, like for instance, the wrestling thing. Okay, this kid
in high school.
Yeah, first of all, I got the muscles I always wanted. See? Yeah. I'm like pretty big.
Yeah.
But this kid made 140. I weigh like 240, dude. Yeah. This kid made 140. He was, I mean, that's pretty bad, dude.
Yeah.
He could have been hospitalized if he would have made a lower weight. You know what I mean?
Wrestlers, they do kind of crazy things to make weight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Mike was basically at one point, like he was a good wrestler, but see, at one point he was probably good enough to place in nationals.
Right.
Even in college, because he beat J.J. Fosnot. J.J. won states his junior year, and then he won states his senior. He got second in senior year, and then he went to college at Pitt, Division I, and got top 8 in the nation. And then Mike Sell took him down 10 times in a row in about 15 seconds. And it's like, I know how to wrestle.
Yeah.
And
before you met Mike, you didn't know how to wrestle.
No.
Yeah.
See, I can tell because I know my wrestling stance.
Yeah.
Like, I know a wrestling stance just like Mike knows a wrestling stance. You know what I mean? So anyway, so that was an achievement, all the wrestling stuff, and that was a big crazy thing. And then the singing and the guitar playing, the lyricizing, you know, the whole music thing, and then living through such a horrible illness. It's unbelievable to live through something that bad and come out of it doing pretty well like I am now.
What was harder, do you think? What Mike went through, living through his problems, or the problems that you had before you died? You know, the heroin addiction and the...
Well, who's to say whose hell's worse?
Right.
I mean, I would say Mike's is worse.
Right.
But I don't think anybody wants to be a heroin addict, or, you know what I mean? You don't wake up and say, I want to be a heroin addict today.
Right.
You know, I'd say Mike had it a lot worse.
Do you ever think about the fact that your daughter's out there, you know, alive? Have you thought about contacting her, or, you know, she...
Well, I didn't even think much about that until you guys called me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I have a son, so...
Kurt or Mike has a son?
Well, it's Mike's son.
Mike's son, okay. Okay. So you both now. I mean, you have a son and a daughter. It's like a perfect happy family now, right?
Yeah.
And the same with Courtney. Any like thought to talk to her, or what do you feel when you see her?
I would just be like, more afraid than anything else.
So, if you could answer as Mike and as Kurt,
yeah,
same question.
All right.
Kurt, what does the future hold for you and Mike?
Not much.
No. No more music.
Well, I mean, I'm not too old, so
right.
I probably have time to get back into it and try something.
Have you heard anything that inspires you, or no? You wrote that there hasn't been any good music since 2000. Do you agree with that?
Since 2001,
yeah. Since 2000. What is that? Is that Mike talking, or is that Kurt talking, or is it both of you?
Well, it's definitely Mike talking. I know that. This is Mike talking. I don't like a lot of the new stuff. I think it's terrible.
Right.
I think it went sour, man. It went sour in the late 90s.
Yeah.
After like 96, 97, it was over.
Yeah. Limp Bizkit.
Nah,
when that happened. Right?
I even have, I guess, $3 bill, y'all, or whatever.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know that the world would be happy knowing that Kurt Cobain owns $3 bills. So as Mike, what do you see as the future? What does the future hold? Do you see the same thing Kurt sees?
Well, because of my financial situation, I can't accept it would have to be a lot of money, to get off of what I'm on.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I gotta live the rest of my life. I mean, I can't just sign for what everybody else gets, and
right.
When
you say because of money, because of what Social Security, or because
yeah. Okay. I gotta have money to live. I mean, I need medical insurance and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
And that's how you get that.
And I have that now, so I don't want any. This is why, and plus because of my illness, if I lost like 2 or 3 nights of sleep in a row, oh man, I'd get sick, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
One last question. The book. Do you want people to read this? I mean, is this something that
I don't know how I'm going to make money on it. I can't make any money.
Let's forget about money. If you have a choice, you can say, hey, look, everybody in the United States who wants a copy of this gets it. And you don't get paid. There's no money. It's just to tell the story. Is it a story that you want to share? Yeah,
I want to share the story. It's an awesome story.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike had a storybook life. You know what I mean? This is it wasn't always good. It was bad, when we were sick, but it was like a fairy tale life.
Right.
If you know the whole thing.
Well, fairy tales end happy. You say you think it's ended well? Is that, I mean?
It's not over.
See, I asked you what was coming up, and you didn't have any answer for me. That's why. Do I have to wait and find out, or?
I'll probably just hang out at McDonald's with the old guys. That's what I've been doing, just hanging out at McDonald's and writing, and just hanging out with old dudes,
Old dudes have a lot of wisdom.
Yeah, I know.
They do. All right, man. Well, thank you. I appreciate you coming by.
Yeah.
All right, man.
All right, cool.
I appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
That was great.